Right, well, I've just packed up after a really pleasant night of camping last night, and we're about to head out into all of that out there. Let's go see what we find. So last night's campsite was somewhere up there on that ridge. You probably can't tell how uphill I'm looking there, but we're up in there somewhere. Well, definitely not getting up there with anything bigger than a motorcycle. So I think I might just try to hike up a bit and see if I can get up into the rocks a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. There's no way I'm climbing that thing. Well, it's really hard to determine scale sometimes at a distance. So there's where I was camped, right over there on that ridge. And there's that rock formation I was looking at from across the valley. It's quite an imposing cliff. From a distance, it kind of looked like there were steps that you could maybe sort of work your way up, but it's way too sheer and much, much bigger than I thought. Well, clearly I'm not going to get up onto those rocks, but I'm kind of curious to see what the view is like. See if I hike a little bit further. Can anyone tell me what kind of scat that is? It's pretty big. There's my hand right next to it. It looks like it's got like hair in it. So I'm guessing a carnivore. Noise, making noise, making noise, making noise. I don't know if that was cougar scat. I'm gonna make noise in case it was, because I don't want to surprise any big cats. That was big cat scat. Well, this is really cool, but it's getting a little treacherous. Now there's kind of a cliff below me, and this steep slope is a little slippery. Ooh, I don't know, you think a cougar could bed down in there for the day? Oh, the only way further is to walk right past that cave. But I don't want to startle a big cat. Well, that was a bit of a treacherous hike. When I'm out by myself, I wouldn't normally hike off into the backcountry where there's not an established trail on something that was so steep and dangerous. But there I had really good cell service. I'm really not that tremendously far from Redmond. So I felt like if I slipped and broke a leg, I could get a hold of somebody and tell them exactly where I was. But wasn't going to take any chances with surprising a cougar in that cave. I'm sure there wasn't, but I don't know, who knows. Well, back home, I'll have to see if I can plot that hike on Gaia and figure out how far I went and how much further I would have needed to go to get to the end of that rock. Well, I didn't get nearly as far along that as I thought I did. So there is the cave where I chickened out. I didn't want to walk past it in case there was a cougar in there. And it looked like it was just around the corner, was going to come up around where I was going to see like the view of the whole valley. But in fact, the rock goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. It was a long ways from that view. When I planned my trip out this way a year ago, I had originally plotted my route to get over to explore that rocky formation there. So this time it was really easy. All I had to do was follow the route I had already planned. I was kind of hoping this road would connect to something else and get me further down into the canyon, but it dead ends there, so I'm having to backtrack for now. That right out there was going to be one of my backup campsites, but I see someone is in it, so I'm glad I didn't come out this way. Well, looks like this is going to be an in and out, but there's an interesting network of roads. Well, there, my friends, is the road I thought I was going to take. Okay, I admit I didn't prepare super well for this weekend. I had a really busy week at work, and so I'm sort of relying on memory and stuff that I had looked at a year ago, granted also with a year's less experience plotting these kind of trips out. So I had this vague sense that there were all these roads out here that would connect up, because it kind of looks like they do, at least in satellite pictures. So I think I'm going to get back out of here and go down some of the roads I saw yesterday that looked like they also dropped down towards the river from another direction. I'm just going a little further up this road because looks like there's kind of some interesting little craggy rock formations in this. I don't know, would you call this a gulch? It's not really a canyon, it's not a gorge. I think it's what you call a gulch. So, a bit of an improvised plan C here. I think this route may take me out to where there might be some other interesting geological formations. So since that sort of turned into the theme of the day, I might as well go check this place out too. So I just stopped to ask these people if they minded if I stopped and flew my drone over by the rocks. Oh. And what did you just tell me? You guys watch my channel?
Yeah, dude, like all the time, man. I'm Jason. I know
Donald.
It's weird, I know.
Hey, Denise.
Denise, nice to meet you.
We watch your videos like all the time.
So this is Jason and Denise, and you have a YouTube channel also.
We do. It's called Coast to Cascadia.
Coast to Cascadia. Hello, Sam. This is Sam. And who's the kitty?
Izzy.
This is Izzy.
Izzy.
Come here, Iz.
Hello, Izzy. Izzy? Oh.
Yeah, she's very friendly.
Be sure to check out Coast to Cascadia. I'll put a link in the description below. Well, I didn't realize I was going to be above the rock formation, but it's really cool. You probably can't tell, but I believe it just sort of drops off the other side of that. But what's also pretty amazing here is, check out this view. I can just barely see Mount St. Helens in Washington, right there. Just barely. You gotta be kidding me. Definitely worth the little hike down here. Well, this is totally impromptu exploring. So that road I took to get up to that rock formation pretty much dead-ended right where those people were camped. So I'm just going down some random other road and seeing where it goes. You cannot do this kind of exploring if you care about your paint job. Part of my strategy for finding cool spots is to do research in advance. I scrutinize maps and satellite photos and try to find things that look interesting and roads that look interesting and how to get there. But another part of it is simply improvising on the fly and exploring roads that I didn't plan to explore. There's no magic formula and there's no big secret. Research in advance and willingness to explore, and it doesn't always work out. I've been down many roads, and I know I've said this before, but I've been down many roads that were just total duds. That's just part of it. Well, this is pretty nice. Well, I had barely spotted some rocks in the satellite photo, and it looked sort of insignificant, but worth checking out. But it's actually kind of nicer than I thought it was going to be. There's even like some kind of like chimney things down there. Well, what was I saying just 5 minutes ago about finding cool spots involving just willingness to improvise, explore, and having a little bit of luck. I mean, I had no idea I was going to stumble on this. Problem now is, it's only like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not ready to make camp. I don't know. Can you see that? That is so beautiful. Well, even though it's a little early in the day, I decided to go ahead and stay here. It's just too nice of a sight not to go ahead and enjoy. Especially as the day sort of turned into geological formations, and there is a beauty right there. Plus that gorgeous view right there. My experience has generally been with sites that are on the edges of cliffs like this or the top of buttes tend to be the windiest. But man, it is calm up here today.
The away spots, huh? Let's get some pretty.
Damn it!
Here we are.
Sorry, dude.
That's cool. Yeah, I think you should have found a place with a view or something.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to give up and compromise.
Put up with it, man. It's LA.
I think it's time. Yeah, it's time. Well, ultimately, it's a good thing that I stopped and stayed here when I did. Between talking to various people who showed up, and getting firewood ready, and flying the drone a little bit, man, the afternoon just disappeared. So I'm just gonna relax and enjoy the view for a little while. Even though I'm surrounded by a somewhat normal forest, right here along this weather-beaten cliff, the trees are noticeably dwarfed and twisted. I've long had a fascination with the art of bonsai, the point of which being to replicate the gnarled, dwarf forms of trees growing in extreme conditions at high elevations. So I'm always struck by the real deal when I find it. Trees which are many years old and should be growing tall and straight, but which nature has formed into twisted, miniaturized versions. I was going to show you guys how to make this chicken sauce dish that I'm making tonight, but as I was recording it, I realized that I forgot a few things in my haste, and it's pointless to show you and talk about the things that I'm not putting in it. So I'll save it for another time. This is one of my favorite things to cook up, and so I will do it again. Well, no one can complain about cooking dinner when you get to cook in front of that. I haven't made any fire, it just hasn't cooled off that much. I'm sure once that sun goes down, the temperatures are going to drop. I think I'm at about 4,800 feet here, so it's pretty decent elevation.
About 6:30. It wasn't super cold last night, but it's definitely chilly enough in here that I don't feel like getting out of the sleeping bag to get dressed. So I reached over and turned on the heater, let it warm up in here. Just takes a couple of minutes of that thing running, and it is toasty warm and feels very comfortable to get out of bed. Well, I think I'm just gonna make some coffee and oatmeal, pack up camp, and hit the road. And I don't have any really other plans for stuff to visit today. I think I'll just be getting back on the highway and heading home.
I thought this would be the end of the video series, but working my way back out of the wilderness, I stumbled upon some side roads I was just unable to resist exploring. So keep an eye out for part 3 coming soon.